time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
A very good evening to you and welcome to another exciting episode of The Issues on Voice of the People Television. I will bring you the most important and pressing issues shaping our nation today. I am your host, Nenna Ndomdioto. Today on The Issues, we're examining the complexities of Nigeria's politics and governance, from Kayode Egbetokun resigning as IGP to U.S. Congress submitting report on Nigeria and recommending sanctions. Also, El-Rufai files 2 billion naira suit against DSS over alleged abuse of power. Finally, Odin Carlo insists Amopiton cannot be trusted to conduct credible polls in 2027. Join us as we break down the fact and provide context to help you stay informed. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll dig deeper into these topics. Don't go away. Glad to have you back. Let's dive straight into what we have for you today. Kayode Egbetokun has resigned from his position as Inspector General of Police. The presidency disclosed this and further stated that Egbetokun is to be replaced by AIG Tunji Disu, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of 4CIDNX, Lagos. Recall the President Bola Tinubu appointed Egbetokun as the 22nd Inspector General of Police on June 19, 2023. The latter part of Egbetokun's tenure was marked by controversy over his extended stay in office, which drew public criticism. Under Section 18, Subsection 8 of the Police Act 2020, Egbetokun, who was born on September 4, 1964, was expected to retire in September 2024 upon attaining the age of 60. But his tenure extended beyond the mandatory retirement limit of 60 years of age or 35 years of service, prompting sustained criticism from civil society groups, among others. In July 2024, the National Assembly passed the Act Amendment Bill to allow a person appointed as Inspector General of Police to remain in office until the end of the term stipulated in the letter of appointment. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by two esteemed guests. Here in the studio, we have Dr. Peter Anosike. Dr. Anosike is a philosopher, development economist, and best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. He's also the author of the most talked about book titled Abuse of Power, How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. Glad to have you join us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. And joining us virtually, we have Benson Abo. He is a researcher and a public affairs analyst. Glad to have you join us, sir. Glad to have you join us. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. I said thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Okay, so let me start with you. When you heard about the resignation of the IGP, what was your first reaction? How did you feel?
Nothing. He was overdue, so he was good to go. He's not different from others who have actually attained that office and have gotten to the age and we asked to go. So for me, the other time he has spent was not really necessary. I think it's the problem we have in Nigeria, having double standard. If the act has said so, it shouldn't, because of an individual, amend the act, and it should remain. For me, it's good to go, and there'll be a lot of pressure. Yeah, a lot of people believe that he's staying there illegally. However, since he has been appointed and
You seem to have lost him as a result of network. Let me come to you, Dr. Anosike. Okay.
From off,
okay.
As long as he said he has resigned and they've accepted the resignation, he has done well today in his next endeavor. So that's all I can just say for now.
Okay, you actually talked about a bit of the next question I was going to ask. I was going to say, one of the things that happened during his tenure was that he had to, his tenure was, his age, because of his age, was supposed to have, people were calling for his resignation since he had gotten to the age of retirement. And we see the president put up, of course, through the National Assembly, a bill was passed to allow a person just sort of accommodate Egbetokun in office. So what do you make of that?
Yeah, like I said, for me, it's one problem we have in the country. When the government wants to please an individual, they go all the way to do what they think they need to do to accommodate that person. If the act has been there and that has actually caught up with him in terms of age, he should go. There are so many others who would have done better than what, or make their contribution on the line. But since they have amended the act to accommodate him, and now, what most of the things battling me is that he was supposed to stay till 2027. So why is he resigning now? These are questions that beg for an answer. Why is he resigning now? So for me, I don't see his stay as being necessary. But since he has resigned, good for the country. And whoever the AIG that has been appointed, I wish him all the best in the office. I do hope that they will be also accommodating well the way they did to the other person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me come to the studios. Dr. Anosike, one of the things they said was, why now? Why is he resigning now? When there have been so many calls for his resignation, and then all of a sudden we just hear about his resignation. Do you think that he actually resigned voluntarily, or was he shown the door by the president?
It was voluntary, understand me, because he couldn't cope anymore, understand, because one, he has a health challenge. Nigerians don't resign. Nigerians don't resign. They want to stay in an office and die. But this is a situation that he can manage no more. Understand me? If not, Tinubu has programmed him to be there till after the 2027 general election. And they have to go and amend our constitution because of an individual, which doesn't happen anywhere. Understand me? They have to go and amend our constitution because of an individual. And that individual now cannot even serve out the amendment. So this is the kind of a thing that Nigerian elites, I don't like using that word, understand me? But that's Nigerians at the top do that keep on dragging the country back. An institution should be more than an individual. But in Nigeria, you see that individuals are far more than institutions. So, and even even as the IGP, he never distinguished himself, going by the amount of deaths in the country, because we are not fighting war as to say that military should also be held responsible. So what we are having in Nigeria is supposed to be under the watch of Egbetokun, understand? So, but if you watch the rate of insecurity in the country, the rate of kidnapping, understand me, other forms of violence, you know that he never distinguished himself as an IGP. So when we begin that to talk about the IGPs that did well during their tenure, I don't think if anybody will mention Egbetokun, because personally I didn't see anything that he did. But for this that's coming now, the only thing that I can see about him, which to me did not really amount, he was the guy that arrested this Evans, the kidnapper. Understand me? So that is the only important thing I can see in his CV. So that shows you that most of our policemen are just average performers.
Wow, that's a
most of our policemen, 99.9% of our policemen are average performers. Understand? And Egbetokun is resigning as an underperformer. Maybe when he will be official exit, they may read that's all the good things in the world. But for me, there's nothing outstanding about his years in office.
Okay, so I was actually going to ask you about his rate. For you to rate his tenure, but you've answered that actually.
He was an average performer.
So let me go to our virtual guest to hear his take on this. Benson, you know, of course, there were so many things surrounding Egbetokun. He was the one who said he talked about the tinted glass pyramid at some point, and people were like, "Why is the police trying to become a money-making industry, a money-making arm of government, not arm of government, sorry, a money-making institution?" So now we saw at some point the tinted glasses issue died down, especially when we saw some associations like NBA come up and all of that. So how would you actually rate Egbetokun's tenure as an IGP? If you're with me,
extraordinary. I said he wasn't extraordinary in any way while in the office. I remember when he was appointed, some of his statements that he's going to fight crime, he's going to do this and all that. If you talk about crime fighting during his tenure, I don't think there is anything. Just like he said, I will rate him 45%.
Wow, that's well, that's your opinion actually. Just like the
I'm telling you, it's my opinion. Yeah. I'm just telling you as a person that is my opinion. Insecurity is at a high rate. A lot of the recent National Assembly, what they call it, that took place. You can see what happened between the police and those who are actually protesting. So if we have an IG that is strategic, an IG that is friendly to the citizen, there should be a better option than what was done. So for me, that's the way I have rated him. That's my view about him. May have done some beautiful things that I don't know, but the ones that we can use to assess it, 45%.
Okay. So well, let me ask you, with this sudden change at the top, how do you think this would impact ongoing security operations against banditry and, of course, terrorism?
Well, the person coming on board is an AIG, so he was part of the system, so he understands this thing, and is a part of the top management of the structure. So I don't think there's anything going to be new to him. The new acting AIG, I think if he maintains what he has been doing, I think he's a good person, and he's a combat person the way I know him. So I should expect a different strategy being put in place by him, knowing what is on ground, you know. And going back to the outgone IG, a lot of things I see, like the tinted glass was more a commercial thing. A lot of the policies related to the police were not friendly to the citizen. And so the Nigerian citizens will remember him for some of these things. That's the only thing I can talk about. But in terms of security, policing, and all that, and then possibly enforcement of what they call it, community policing. That's just all that we can actually remember him for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me come back to our guest in the studio. Dr. Anosike, you know, Tunji Disu is the acting IGP. Would this risk a disruption, sort of? Because we know that there are people who are ahead of him, or who are in rank, or who are higher than him in rank. So would this like disrupt the police hierarchy and, of course, morale?
No, they know that. They already know that. So it's nothing new. Once an AIG is appointed, anybody above him retires. That's so Frank Mba and others are gone. There's even a DIG that was appointed just last week. Understand me? From Ondo State. So the guy is not going to stay up to. By now, the guy should be packing his things. But he was made a DIG just last week, for not ensure or somebody. Understand me? So he is going. So just like in the army, if a major has a military coup, everybody above a major is retired, because a senior cannot be saluting a junior. So that is the situation in the army. So Frank Mba and others are automatically retired, because the AIG is below them. So you cannot have DIGs and AIG will become that IG. So they will all go. And mind you, IGP is just a political appointment. So it is not in the police ranks. And the president can appoint even a CP as an IG. And once that happens, anybody above the rank of CP retires.
Okay, you know, you mentioned Frank Mba, and I was actually going to go there. Frank Mba, for some persons have said that Frank Mba should actually be the one who should be appointed as the IGP. Some persons are saying that probably that there's, you know, some persons are just trying to see what could have gone wrong, or why Tunji Disu is made an IGP rather than Frank Mba, who we know has, well, as when he was the PRO, we know he did very well, and he has stellar.
Disu is a Lagos boy. Understand me? Disu is a Lagos boy, just like Egbetokun is also a Lagos boy. So, and Tinubu is appointing Lagos boys. As we speak, Disu is in charge, is AIG in charge of FCID at this in here at Anabo. Understand me? So he is a Lagos boy from the same this thing with that's with the president.
But should that be a criteria to appoint an IGP? Shouldn't there be more things to look out for before the president can actually decide to use someone as an IGP?
The only person that has been truly Nigerian in this country for me is Olusegun Obasanjo. Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan. Under Olusegun, that's Obasanjo, the chief of army staff was not a Yoruba. Understand me? So even it was under Obasanjo that Onovo was appointed IGP. So the only person that has truly been truly Nigerian is Obasanjo. So, but everybody cannot be the same. Understand? Everybody cannot be the same. Because Egbetokun is from Osun State. Understand me? Tinubu is from Osun State. But if we are thinking of competence, understand, we shouldn't be looking at where somebody comes from. And that's why everything is failing in the country.
Okay, we're going to get to the point where we'll ask about qualities that an IGP should actually have for us to really get the best because of course he's in acting capacity. Although we know in Nigeria these days, when somebody's in acting capacity, most times the person eventually becomes the person who sits on that chair. But let me ask you, this move, so many calls have been made for the removal of the IGP, and it's coming at this time. Does it signal a broader strategy by the president to try to, reshape national leadership?
I say Egbetokun is sick. Understand me? It is not what Kayode and others are talking. Those things don't move Tinubu. I've known Tinubu as a journalist. Understand? When he entered office from AD, understand? We start covering him. So he's somebody that I know too well. And these people have praised him so much, he believes in the praises that he's now a superhuman being. So he sees others as ants. So what anybody is talking doesn't move him. So he is the Jagaban of Africa, not of Bogu. Understand me? So he just said that this guy cannot continue based on his health and not what Kayode and others are talking.
Okay, let me go back to our virtual guest. Let me ask you, Vincent, what qualities do you think that the IGP or an IGP should actually possess? Because we've seen that the public has actually lost confidence in policing and in Nigerian police. What do you think the next IGP can do to actually restore confidence in the police force?
Thank you. Okay. First, what should be the quality for somebody to be an IG? For me, that person should be skilled, should have technical knowledge and operations. That person should widely and read in terms of and understanding the political structure of the country as well. For me, that person should not. There shouldn't be ethnic background behind it. It should be ability to perform. Why he or such person was a CP or AIG? What has the person done in terms of maintaining peace and order within the area or jurisdiction he is covering? So the assessment should be based on performance. That's for me. Assessment should be based on performance and ability to relate with the people and bring confidence to the people in terms of peace in the society. So that should be the criteria for appointment. But like we know, politics is involved. IGP position is a political office. It's not, most times they don't consider your merit or qualification or experience, but who do you know? Who can speak exactly what is happening. If not, Frank Mba was quite very outstanding and has a wider knowledge. His good public relation would have actually speak for him, and so on and so forth. But they have taken the decision, and I think now what do we expect from the IG is to ensure that peace return to Nigeria. The police are well funded. The police officers are well taken care of in terms of welfare. The what do you call it? The civil group in terms of people protesting, the civil rights should be respected, and people should not be arrested indiscriminately. Right now, the way the police are going about arresting people, young boys are not arrested. That shouldn't be. We should advance policing and encourage community policing as well. So these are some of the things I look forward to seeing from him, installing peace and ensuring that the Nigerian environment is peaceful, and ensure that police welfare is taken care of. For me, if the police welfare is taken, if Nigeria has the best police structure, but the people working in the force, in the police, are not well paid. They are not well taken care of. The equipments are not there. You know, most of the police that you see actually use their money to do operation. And that's why most of the accusation against them, I don't support. Support it. But I think the government should fund police very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do you want to speak to that before we?
What my friend Benson Abu said is the ideal thing. Understand me? The way it is written in the textbook. Understand? Because, but in reality, it doesn't work.
That's for the criteria.
That
for
way.
the criteria.
No, I mean.
What you expect from the IGP?
What you expect from the IGP. Understand me? I remember in 2012, one of the governors in the Southeast wanted to appoint me chief press secretary. He said, Peter, forget about what you were taught in the school. You will do what I want you to do for me. Understand me? You work for me the way I want. Understand me? So, which means whatever ethics I'm coming with is not important. Understand me? If he wants me to lie against somebody, I will lie against somebody. Understand me? If he didn't do any project and he wants me to say that he did that project, understand, I will do so. So, and this is what happens in most of the appointments. Understand? The executive, whether president or governor, will tell you what he wants you to do for him, and not what the public wants. So those people know what is right. Understand me? They know what is right. Even if Frank Mba gets there today, people will be disappointed.
Wow.
The president will tell him, this is what I want, and he has to do it. If you don't want to do it, you resign. So this is how it works there. Understand me? This is how it works there. You are not free.
So are you saying that we've got to the point where integrity is no longer important when it comes to all of this?
You will do what your appointee wants you to do. If your appointee wants you to defend the indefensible, you must defend it. Understand me? So that's how it works there. So what you know doesn't matter. It's what he wants you to do that you are going to do.
Okay, let's now move on to security matters. Of course, still security matters. The United States House Committees on Appropriations and Foreign Affairs has formally submitted a report to the White House outlining their findings and recommendations on the alleged persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The submission follows President Donald Trump's decision to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Moore disclosed that the report's conclusions were drawn from months of investigation, including interviews, on-the-ground assessments, meetings and consultations with religious leaders and internally displaced persons. The report outlines several recommendations, including the establishment of a bilateral U.S.-Nigeria security agreement, aimed at protecting vulnerable Christian communities and dismantling jihadist networks. Proposal to withdraw certain U.S. funds onto the Nigerian government demonstrates concrete action to halt violence against Christians, sanctions and visa restrictions against individuals and groups responsible for or complicit in religious persecution. It also recommends providing technical support to the Nigerian government to eliminate violence from armed Fulani militias, and also calls for the repeal of Sharia and blasphemy laws. Let me come to you first, Benson. What do you make about this U.S. Congress report and, of course, its recommendations?
Report, and it also demonstrates the cry of some Nigerians of what is happening in Nigeria, and that it is real. And since it's an independent panel that have actually come around, they've seen things, they've interviewed, they've discussed with people, and they've been able to make their report. What it means is that actually there is genocide in Nigeria, the Christian genocide in Nigeria, in one form or the other. So it has also established the fact that there is killing ongoing in Nigeria, insecurity in Nigeria. So for me, it's a good report. It shows that they were not biased. It also shows that they were not influenced. They did not allow themselves to be influenced by government. And then government was also given opportunity. So the truth has come out. That's just that's all I want to say. The truth is out, and their recommendation is a welcome development. I stand by it. Thank you.
Okay, let's look at one of their recommendations. Before I allow Dr. Anosike to speak about this, one of the recommendations was the repeal of Sharia and blasphemy laws, Sharia laws in particular. Do you actually see that actually, can it be brought to book, or can it be, can we in Nigeria actually do this to ensure that repeal Sharia law? Because it looks like Sharia law has been ingrained in our, might not be in the constitution, but has been ingrained in Nigeria in the north. But do you think the federal government has the political will, or even has the willpower to actually repeal Sharia law?
Well, first and foremost, the Sharia is incorporated in our constitution. They have the right, according to them, to have the Sharia law, and it only affects those practicing the faith. But in actual practice, it's going beyond that, because it's also what they are holding on to. And it's a direct way of trying to promote Islamization in Nigeria. And that gives room for these jihadis and all the rest other things they are carrying. I should think that is the perspective the U.S. is looking at it and coming from, asking it to be repealed. But I think that it will be met with resistance from our northern brothers. They wouldn't just take it like that, because I remember one of the professors from there talking about the canon law, which has to do with the Christian. You understand me? Talk about the canon law that has to do with the Christians, even though it is not as volatile as what they have and are holding on to victimize people. So for me, I stand by it. The operationalization of it is what is the problem. The Nigerian government, I do not think, has the political will, because most of those in the government are actually from these areas, and they have a lot of influence over the presidency. And if any attempt for the president to carry out that, he also calculates his 2027 ambition. I stop there.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Anosike, you were going to something when I asked him the first question. So let me hear you. What's your take on the report and recommendations made by the U.S. Congress?
It is very, very positive. And I move for total implementation. Understand me? I move for total implementation. That the American, U.S., Donald Trump should put their feet on the ground to make sure that everything written there is totally implemented. But what attracts my attention, and which is what I have been advocating for years now, is disarming these herdsmen. Understand me? That's what, because, and I keep on saying, if you disarm herdsmen, insecurity in Nigeria will reduce by 50%. Understand? Insecurity in Nigeria will reduce by, because these jihadists use these cows as a tool. They came in as cattle rearers, and from there begin to commit their atrocities. And it is also with this cow that they enter towns and villages outside their own area. Understand? Because they cannot just walk freely and come into Ondo or to Ebonyi. It is these cows that they use to disguise themselves. So for me, I'm in total support of the of the report, and I don't want pick and choose in the implementation. Whatever is there should be implemented to the full. I have read the Quran, the English version. There's nowhere they say fight for Allah. It's not written in the Quran. They say that Allah will fight his own battles. So those killing for blaspheming, understand me, are just murderers on their own. So those the Sharia and this thing, or everything there should be implemented to the fullness if we want a peaceful and progressive country.
You say you're calling for total implementation, but do you really think it's going to be easy for there to be total implementation of all of these that the U.S. has rolled out?
Nothing positive is easy. Understand me? Nothing positive, good things doesn't come easy. And as they are writing that report, they also know that it will not be easy. So the only thing there is they have to ensure that it is implemented. So APC is almost, they have about 31 states governors now. I heard that one will be joining next week. Let them in APC decide no more Sharia in the country. Understand me? Let them in the APC as a party decide that Sharia is over. So it will be very, very easy.
Just 1 minute.
It will be very, very easy. Let them as a party hold their governors meeting and say that Sharia is over.
Okay. Let's hear your view.
Yes. You see, it is easy to say, but the implementation is not easy. During the Obasanjo regime, when this thing started, he himself was able to study the whole thing, and that was the point these things would have been stopped. But for political reasons and other things, he actually could not stop it. Now, the fact that we have on ground is very clear. It will be, even if government accepts, there will be serious resistance. They will not, now at this level that we are, there will be serious resistance. Like I said, I am 100% in support of the recommendation by the US. But how visible is this operation? How can we achieve this? Is where my concern is. Except if the presidency decides to go through the constitutional amendment in the National Assembly, there too you still have a lot of them there that will oppose it. That's number one. Now, if you call them for dialogue to ensure this is removed, you understand me? They want to say they have a right. You are trampling on their right. as citizens in terms of religious freedom, which the Constitution provides for them. So I think the only way is simple. Any area of the Sharia law that go against the Nigerian Constitution should be expunged. That's where I stand. Any area, the Sharia law, any area of the Sharia law that contradicts or go against the Constitution should be removed. And the Sharia law should be in consonant with the law of the country. With that, we can achieve a meaningful progress. So, because the Constitution recognizes the Sharia law. So that's my position. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Let's move on to another one of the stories that have been developing. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has asked the Federal High Court to quash charges filed against him by the Department of State Services, DSS. El-Rufai is challenging the competence and legality of the charges, describing them as an abuse of court process. The matter is scheduled to be heard on February 25, 2026 before Justice Joyce Abdul Malik. In his motion on notice, El-Rufai is asking the court to strike out the charge on grounds that it is incompetent, discloses no offense known to law, and constitutes what he describes as a gross abuse of court process. The motion cites 17 grounds for dismissal of the charges, including constitutional invalidity, lack of prosecutorial competence, alleged absence of evidence, and claims of political persecution. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar says the federal government will be held liable should anything happen to Nasir El-Rufai, the former Kaduna State Governor. Dr. Nosike, let me come to you first. You know, when this whole issue, Charlie, with the DSS thing came up, you said that the DSS does not have evidence against him, and this is just a way of him just that he's just a game that he's playing. So now, what do you make of this suit? Do you think that it's part of what he's doing because he already knows that there's no evidence against him?
One, I said that what he said in the course of that interview, understand, is called proofread or psychological warfare, and that what he said is not enough to convict him. That was my exact word. That what he said during the course of that interview, he would not be convicted without other corroborating evidence. Understand? And that could also be the reason why they went there to search his house for corroborating evidences. But the truth is that in Nigeria, we do things wrongly. Understand me? Before you go to search somebody's house, you must arm yourself with court warrant, court permission. Court must give you authority. You must convince the judge the reason why you want to go and search somebody's house. But here, police will just come without any papers, understand? Invade your house and begin, it is against the law. In America now, there's a woman, Nancy Guthrie, who they have been searching for the past 3 weeks. And about a week ago, there was an information, and they wanted that to go there to search houses around there. So they first of all went and obtained a warrant to go, because, understand me, and that's the way things are done. So you cannot just invade somebody's property without a warrant and begin to search. Understand? So the case is in court. Let us see what is going to come out of it. I don't know what they must have seen in his house. But if it's based on that interview that he granted, nothing will come out of it. That's where court follows due process. Mind you, we don't have credible courts in Nigeria. What the judgment that courts pass in Nigeria is just nothing but opinions. The judgments that courts have been passing since 2023 up to today is just opinions and not based on the evidence before the court. Understand me? They just pass the opinion of that's of the man that's at the top. But if it's what El-Rufai said on that day during the course of the interview, it is not enough to convict him.
Okay. Let's hear from you, Ben. We are really out of time now, but let me hear from you. Let me hear your take on this particular issue before we call it a night.
I think El-Rufai has taken the right step. The lawyers are doing the right thing. And go process the DSS has done is taking the right step. Let's allow the court to decide all that has been stated over there. You know, so my colleague has said a lot about it, the due process and all that. I stand with him on that. But for the fact that he is in court means that he knows what he is doing, and he may get justice in court. For me, the court is said to be the last hope. Sometimes you get a fair judgment from it, and sometimes it goes by the government. However, I want to say here, why is the government, why are they after El-Rufai? That's the question, that's the area of interest. Why is El-Rufai a target right now? What exactly is the issue? We Nigerians need to know what offense, apart from the interview granted, is there anything that the Nigerians don't know? We to know. The government should tell us, because this harassment of opposition party, it will not help democracy in the country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Benson Abu. Thank you for being a part of the issues, and thank you, Dr. Anosike, for being a part of the issues. And that's all we have for today's, yes, sir. That's all we have for today's episode of The Issues. We explore the challenges facing Nigeria's politics and, of course, governance. Thank you for being a part of it. Don't forget to tune in next time for more in-depth analysis and discussion. Follow us on social media to stay up to date on the latest news and insight. Until next time, stay informed. I am Nnenna Ndomdioto. This has been The Issues and Voice of the People Television, where the future faces forward. Please don't forget to stay tuned for Hashtag with Vivian by 8 p.m. Don't go away.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Apelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not playing to the top, who's the sport?
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the Atlas.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count. To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight, VOP TV. Entertainment like never before.
Lagos State is stepping up efforts to ensure every resident has access to affordable health care with the formal inauguration of the Lagos State Health Scheme Enforcement Team. The move marks the beginning of full implementation of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's executive order, making enrollment on the Ilerial Coast Social Health Insurance Scheme mandatory. Officials say the policy is designed to end out-of-pocket spending that has often forced families into financial hardship during medical emergencies. The head of service, Olabode Agoro, says enforcement will begin within ministries, departments, and agencies before extending to local governments and private sectors.
A strategic engagement with heads of agencies was convened on the 11th of December 2025 to secure institutional ownership of the executive order and ensure alignment across government